Matt Bell, who is from Ann Arbor, Michigan, is the author of Cataclysm Baby, a novella, and How They Were Found, a collection of fiction. His fiction has appeared in Conjunctions, Hayden's Fair Review, Gulf Coast, Unsaid, and American Short Fiction, and has been selected for the Best American Mystery Stories 2010 and the Best American Fantasy 2. He works as an editor at Zonk Books, where he also runs the literary magazine The Collages. In fall 2011, he began teaching writing at the University of Michigan. We're so honored to have you, Matt Bell.
Been a pretty good night so far, huh? I mean, thank Laura and thank all the other readers one more time. Really phenomenal. Thank you. I have a new book coming out in about a week from Sunday. It's called Cataclysm Baby. It's a novella and shorts. It's a series of post-apocalyptic parenting stories. All narrated by fathers. They all have these 3 name titles that are sort of alphabetical. I was going to read one toward the end that's a little longer, but I feel like it keeps coming up tonight, this sort of wolf howling or wolf packs, or yeah, right? Would you guys be willing to do a little crowd participation with me? I've never ever done a reading with crowd participation, so this is new. But I have one of the stories in the book is about a father who's become like this beast head father, and he has a wolf head, and he has this wolf pack of children. And there's a part at the end where there's this series of songs, and the songs are howls, right? So if I like gesture to you guys, would you be willing to howl for me? Like 4 times in a row, maybe? All right, let's practice. A howl? All right. Toward the end, it's pretty short, a couple pages. I'll give you guys the signal and we'll get some howls going, all right? This is Ulmer, Ulrich, Ursa. I wait until the winter moon peeks from behind its shadow, and then I call to the harrow hunt this pack, these sons and cousins and half-brothers and grandsons, all these evolutions of my own beast-headed form, an overlapping of altered progenies, some mimicking my own shape and some their mothers, so that we are become a family united by blood but not body, our forms as far-ranging as our hunting grounds, as the sprawl of forest we've claimed for ourselves, where despite our differing shapes, we live together by the same rules. That each kill we make is shared among the pack, that each wound incurred in the hunt is licked clean by a brother, that after we hunt, we eat, and after we eat, we howl. Let's do one there. And after we howl, we run. The moon waxes wider each night, and soon there is little time to pause, no matter how empty our bellies or how tired our legs. In single file, we cross forest floor and snow-clenched clearings, each packmate putting his paws in the unshared footprints of a father or brother, until together we reach the high rock, the place of decision agreed upon a year ago when last the forest tribes met. What spectacle there is to see upon our arrival, what new variety of form only a year past our last meeting, what bear bodies, what cougar hearts, what boar teeth, and among them all the other wolf-head packs, flush with brothers despite the endless snow, the failing prey. When all are assembled and greeted, and we have sniffed and nuzzled and marked each other as friends, as temporary family, then each father alpha relates his tale in turn, some with words, some with beast noise, some with both at once. We speak loudly and with great length, give speeches that consume many nights, that take the whole fullness of the moon to complete. We speak these many words as if we have to, as if the limitations of syllables could somehow mask the truer language of our shifted bodies. The failure of our great hunt, the one each tribe is engaged in for the good of all others, it has already been communicated by our lowered heads, our tucked tails, and so even before our speeches, all our boys know what we fathers know. It has been years since any of us have seen a human woman, and the beast heads make no daughters. The wives we share our dens with welcome us gladly because they too are short of number, their own male scarce even before the dwindling of the world, but they cannot give us human children, cannot keep our own lines from drifting toward wildness. They cannot. And if we complain, they cry bitterly, for they do not see why our children should look only like us, why they should not also take after their mothers. They say this, but it is not their race that has disappeared, and so our sorrow is not theirs to share. They do not mind their children who are only wolves, only cougars, only bears and boars, because what else should they desire but more of themselves, new packs made stronger by our mingled blood and seed. When the meeting is over, when the moon enters the waning that awaits it on the other side of our words, only then do we give up one language for another, to come together as one people, one troubled nation of tribes. As one mouth, we combine our voices, a cacophony rising as if to crack the earth, as if to shake the heavens, as if to loose the turning moon from her mount and bring it crashing down upon us, the only mass heavy enough to bury our giant grief. There is this big noise, and then afterward there is my prone form, whole of body, but spirit-quaked, hope-bloodied. All around me, my wolf children gather, licking my face and chest, pulling loose what matters they find fouled upon my fur, while beside them my beast-headed boys stroke my coat with clawed fingers, make what few words their dumb tongues can make. All these children, these many pups, and yet gathered to me are no true sons, no sons I wanted. In their place rise only these altered generations, these boys who will not grow up to be their father, not without the mothers I wanted them to have. And if I refuse to stand, if like the other alphas I demand to be left here at the meeting place, the high rock of the woods, if I tell my sons and grandsons that I have failed, that I am no longer worthy to lead their pack, what then follows my quitting them, their family? Then the song of farewell. Then the song of forgiveness. Then the song of funeral. Then the song of their teeth upon my throat, upon my haunch and tendons, the soft spots of the easy kill. Then in my mind, only the face of my own father, the last human visage I saw, which I never again brought forth upon this wilding world, despite all my efforts to prevent his line's extinction, despite all my attempts to raise these lost boys in his image.
Yeah!
One more short one? Good?
Yes,
right. This is Meshach, Meshach, Meshach. We knew our firstborn might not last. His weak constitution revealed even before he could walk, signaled by his crinkled little fingers, his wet coughs full of sputum and phlegm. Still my wife nursed him. Still I wiped the sweat off his sallow face and his caved chest. At night, we let him sleep between our bodies, even though his breathing often woke us, even though there was no need to keep warm his small shape, not in the furnace of our bedchamber, our tiny hole of a home. Each morning, we awoke from our dreams, covered in the night's soot, the expectorate that blew upward from the vents in the floor, the ash and worse that could not escape through the clogged height of the chimney above. Once our boy could walk, once his toddler arms were thick enough to lift him, then we wrapped his mouth and nose with breathable cloth and set him at the ledge of the chimney, at the bottom rung of the skinny ladder leading up into the narrow smokestack. Up, we cried, up, and loose what there is to be loosed. Oh, and what a baby he was then! What cries and wails at being separated from us, at being alone in the dark of the stack. But still he climbed, did his best to keep the air flowing, to keep what came from below ascending to wherever it floated above. By the time he was old enough to talk, his voice was already strained with the black glass the heat made of his lungs. By then, his brother baked in my wife's womb, growing up to replace him when he inevitably tumbled loose, plummeting from the chimney's great heights. When we heard the thump of his crash, we set aside our brooms, left the newest ash where it lay, so we might hold him as he went. We cried for him as best we could, but those years the furnaces were so hot that no moisture lasted, not our tears, not the milk of my wife's breast. Our second boy, he never had enough to eat, and when his growth halted, I put another in his mother's belly, even though there was no room for the three of us then birthed, even though we could barely stand the sight of each other in the heat-stung cramp of our chamber. Our second boy, he climbs as his brother once did, and when he comes down to see us, he is black-skinned, slick with wide burns, shut tight by soot. His only words are cries for mercy, entreaties against going back up the chimney, but of course he must go. When he refuses, I tell him about the good of the many, about the good of my wife, about the good of myself, about the good of his baby brother coming soon. I take him bodily and I force him into the chimney, push with my hands until he's above the damper, the trapdoor between our world and his, and then I hold the damper shut while I tell him the truth I've never wanted to tell. I tell him I can make more of him, but there's only one of me, only one of his mother. I tell him that when he is gone, I will still love him as much as I loved the brother before, as much as I will love the brother who comes after. I tell him this is why we gave you all the same name, so that you might be equals in our heart. This conversation, it is an understanding I began with one son long ago and will end with another. Perhaps here in this hot room, built above the furnace below and the floor above, or perhaps somewhere new, some earned place cool and starstruck, or else some other kind of heaven I have not yet imagined, set aside as reward for our long hot labors, our series of sacrifices. I do not know. I have only been in this one room, and I cannot guess what others the world might yet contain. I know only this, myself, the father, her, the mother, them, the son. And between us all, this hot hell to be shared, and the crematorium chimney above, to be kept clean no matter what the cost, lest all below choke on the ashes of our ashes. Thank you very much.
Thank you all for coming. Hi, Rosie.